back once again. So today we will be discussing about, first of all, let me tell you, today we'll be discussing something about very much analytical, which is actually a mathematical based concept. We will have some derivations. Okay. So in my previous videos, okay, what I have told you, I have actually covered a bit of theory. I have also covered a bit of numerical. Okay, I have also covered I've also shown you a bit of animations, how the heat flows and all in various modes, and I have also covered how an engineer in real world actually solves the problem, okay, by certain other books which I have already told you that this you won't find it in your lab or library, wherever. Okay, so that was Carrier Handbook. So it was with me just because I use it day in and day out very oftenly. So that's why. So right now we'll be doing like this is your code, and so we'll be finishing unit 1 with the 4th video, with the 4th lecture. Okay. So I'm Krishnendu Roy from Indraprastha Engineering College, Ghaziabad. So let's start the lecture. Okay. So the content for the lecture. The content for the lecture is heat flow in Cartesian coordinates, okay, heat flow in cylindrical coordinates, and heat flow in spherical coordinates. Okay. So what we need to do is, first of all, let us tackle the heat flow in Cartesian coordinates. Okay. So heat flow in Cartesian coordinates, actually, see, if you pay attention to this. Okay, what do you first of all understand by Cartesian coordinates? The Cartesian coordinates is basically rectangular coordinates. Okay, it is basically rectangular coordinates. Just hold on. Just hold on. Okay. Okay, the Cartesian coordinates is basically rectangular coordinates. Okay, so rectangular coordinates is basically x, y, and z. Okay, so x, y, and z coordinates is okay. So we have learned that the rectangular coordinates are basically x, y, z coordinates. Okay, now we have a cube which has a dimension of delta x, of delta y, and of delta z along their respective axis. Okay, now what's happening here? See, if this is the thickness, so the amount of heat that is entering along the thickness, suppose if we are if I am taking the y axis, then it will be qy. Then the amount of heat that is going across the thickness, okay, and if I am again taking delta y as my thickness, so it is qy plus delta y. Okay, this is the nomenclature that you need to follow in this derivation. It's a very important derivation. These 3 derivations are very important derivations. Okay, now suppose if the heat that is entering this thickness delta x, then this is qx. Okay, the heat that is coming out from that across that thickness, so it will be qx plus delta x. Okay, then suppose if the heat that is entering here across the thickness delta z, that is along the z axis. Okay, so the heat that is crossing that particular thickness is q z plus delta z. Okay, so these 6 heats that is actually flowing in and flowing out of the system will actually form the basis of the derivation. Okay, so let's talk about very important thing. This is Eg. Eg is nothing but internally heat generation per unit volume. Okay, so suppose if there is a heater element here, so what you will find is qx that is entering here and qx plus delta x that is exiting from the system, when it is coming in contact with the internal heat generation, so the magnitude of qx plus delta x will be higher than qx. We will solve it later on. We will look at it. Okay, so similarly, so magnitude of qy plus delta y will be higher than the magnitude of qy, and on the similar lines, magnitude of qz will be lesser than the magnitude of qz plus delta z, just because the heat that is exiting the cube is actually encountering this internal heat generation per unit volume, or you can say it's the heater element or whatever, it's something is producing heat inside the cube. Okay, so you just look at it. T is the uniform temperature at the left face A, B, C, D, and it has very small volume, dt by dx, temperature gradient in x direction, okay, in degree Celsius per meter, that is the unit and nothing else, okay, degree Celsius per meter, okay. So directional thickness of elements m, okay. Now the mass of element in kilogram m, rho is the density in meters cube per kilogram, then area of the element normal to the direction of the heat flow, this is the normal, this area is the normal to the heat flow, okay. And then we have C, the specific heat of the material, okay, it's kilojoules per kilogram Kelvin, as we all know, you have read it, it dates back to your physics classes from class 9th, okay. Now can you see this? This is delta T by del x dx. There is a change of temperature through distance dx in x direction, okay. There is a change of temperature, you just read it carefully, change of temperature through distance dx in x direction. So what happens is, okay, we will take care here. So the temperature at EFGH phase, now what do you understand by EFGH? Suppose if this is my EFGH phase, okay, like it is like E, F, G and H, okay. If this is my EFGH phase, so the temperature, and suppose if this is my A, B, C and D phase, okay. So A, B, C, D has like T as a temperature, but when it is coming out here from EFGH phase, this is my EFGH phase, okay. So since it has come across the thickness, so the temperature has changed to T was here, okay, T plus del T by del x into dx, okay. So T del T by del x into dx. Basically what has happened is it has actually gone bit higher by delta T, by an element delta T, okay, because this and these are the integral operators, or you can say the differential operators, and they can be nullified later on, okay. So this is the delta T. So basically T has been added by delta T, a small elemental temperature increase just because of this internal heat generation, okay. So Kx, Ky, Kz, Kx, Ky, Kz are the thermal conductivity of all material in x, y and z direction respectively, and you know what is thermal conductivity by now, as I have already discussed I've already discussed so many times in my previous videos, okay. I will be discussing once again here, okay. So Q into G, that is the heat generated in unit time in watts, small q into G is heat generated per unit volume per unit time, that is watts per meter cube. dt is the element time duration. We will actually use these particular things and the above this block as well in our derivation, okay. So energy balance, now you need to do the energy balance for any system. How do you do the energy balance for any system? To perform an energy balance, you need to see what all energies are coming into the system, what all energies are going out of the system. So the energies that is coming into the system will be on the opposite side of the energies that is going out of the system, okay. So here look at it, net heat accumulation from all the direction, okay, that is taken as the A element, okay, plus the internal heat generation, I have already told you, that is Eg, okay, that is the B element, and the heat stored in the body, C, okay. So heat stored in the body, so I will discuss it later on, okay. What do you understand by heat stored in the body? Basically it is rate of change of internal energy, okay. Suppose there is a human body, he has an internal energy. Now suppose if he is exposed to some kind of colder environment, or if he is exposed to some kind of hotter environment, then definitely there will be heat transfer, okay, there will be heat exchange, okay, every time he faces an heat exchange. So the internal energy of the body starts fluctuating, sometimes it goes up, sometimes it comes down, okay. So it doesn't remain same at all times. So I am talking about human body, but you can talk about any body, means any physical object, any non-living object for that matter. It should have an absolute temperature, and for that absolute temperature it will definitely have an internal energy, because internal energy actually depends on the temperature, okay. Now heat flow at A, B, C, D phase, okay, the left hand side phase from where the Qx was entering. So look at it, it is Q is equals to minus Ka dt by dx, Do you know what law is this? I have already discussed. This is Fourier's law of conduction. In each and every derivation, since actually these derivations are for conduction, three-dimensional heat conduction equation for Cartesian coordinates. What we are doing is for Cartesian coordinates, then for the these cylindrical coordinates, and then for the spherical coordinates. But the basis will be same. We'll be applying Fourier's law of conduction everywhere. Okay. So the area will be dy dz, and the trick is, suppose if we are calculating qx, the remaining will be dy dz, so that will be taken as area. Okay, look at it. Okay, now this is the time has been taken into consideration, that's why. Now heat flow at EFGH, the phase that is on the right hand side from where qx plus dx was coming out. Okay, so here it is q dash is equals to q plus del q by del x dx. Okay, that is the element. This heat got an additional elemental heat added to its system. Okay, just because of that internal heat. Okay, total heat accumulated in x direction. See, total heat accumulated in x direction, that is dqx, is q dash minus q. What was q dash? Q dash was this, the elemental heat added one. Okay, and what is q? Q was the basic one, that is the entering heat. Okay, so this is q dash minus q. So if you subtract it, because we need to take out the net heat that has come across the system, so this is the thing that we get. Okay, when we subtract the exiting heat from the entering heat. Okay, so this is the thing. Okay, if you actually rearrange it, okay, we have dx, we have dy dz, so it will be dx dy dz dt. Okay, now similarly for y and z direction, see, you need to see a trick here. See, it is qx, so the thickness will be delta x. Okay, it will be dx here, and the volume will be dx dy dz. Okay, similarly for y, qy, the thickness will be delta y. Okay, then here also it will be dy. You know why? Because this is a temperature gradient, and you know from the Fourier's law, the temperature gradient, if this is T1, if this is T2, and if this is the thickness, so it is delta T by delta X. This is the temperature gradient from Fourier's law of conduction. Okay, so if it is in y direction, it will be delta T by delta Y. If it is in z direction, it will be delta T by delta Z. Okay, so similarly qz, look at it, the thickness delta z, then here it is dz, and the volume definitely it's common, dx dy dz, and we go to remove this volume later on. Okay, so let's go to this. This is known as general heat conduction equation for non-homogeneous anisotropic material, self heat generating, okay, unsteady three-dimensional heat flow, heat conduction equation for constant thermal conductivity K. So what we have done is, okay, we actually have taken like q dash minus q, that is the net heat. How we have achieved this? Actually, I am telling you that. Okay, so it is like q dash minus q, the net heat, plus E dot G, that is the internal heat generation per unit volume. So it is again dx dy dz plus the rate of change of internal energy. So the rate of change of internal energy will be rho Cp, okay, delta T, or you can write like dt by d small t. Okay, so this thing has dx dy dz. So if we write like, see, this thing has dx dy dz, so you need to add them up. So qx, you can write like dqx plus dqy plus dqz plus this will be equals to this. So this is basically equals to, actually, okay, this is on the right hand side, this is the rate of change of internal energy, this is delta U, this is not overall heat transfer coefficient, this is delta U, and the rate, since it is rate, so it is per unit time. Okay, so this is all about the system. So first of all, dx dy dz goes off. Okay, dx dy dz from here as well, you can take this common, it goes off. Okay, so here also actually it goes off. Okay, and then what happens? It has a k. You know, can you see this? This is kx, this is ky, and this is kz. So kx, ky, kz. And since we have taken this thing, that is kx, ky, kz, is an isotropic material. Okay, so the properties remains constant. It's a homogeneous. So the kx, ky, kz goes off, and this will becomes k. This becomes k. Okay. Now this k will be divided here. This k will be divided here. It has gone off from this. Okay. Now the k will be divided here, and the k will also be divided here. Okay. So the final equation that remains is del square t by del x square plus del square t by del y square plus del square t by del z square plus qg by k, because the k we have taken common and we have divided it throughout, and then it is rho c by k here. Okay, here I have written rho cp by k. Okay, so we all know that k by rho cp is alpha, and alpha is actually thermal diffusivity. Okay, it is actually alpha is thermal diffusivity. So the thermal diffusivity has a unit of meter squares per seconds, and thermal diffusivity is actually the ratio of thermal conductivity of any material divided by its thermal capacity. Okay, so since alpha is equals to k by rho c, since the alpha is equals to k by rho c, so definitely if it is rho c by k, it has to be 1 by alpha. Okay, so the final equation stays like del square t by del x square plus del square t by del y square plus del square t by del z square plus qg by k is equals to 1 by alpha del t by del small t, and that small t is basically time. Okay, and where alpha is actually thermal diffusivity that I have already discussed. Okay. Now other simplified forms of heat conduction equation, the case 1, when no internal source of heat generation is present. Okay, so the equation reduced to, see, internal heat generation was qg, right? So qg turns out to be 0 now because there is no source of internal heat. So if you reduce that equation, you can see it is just del square t by del x square plus del square t by del y square plus del square t by del z square is equals to 1 by alpha del t by del small t. Okay. Case 2, when the conduction takes place in a steady state. Now what do you understand by steady state? Steady state means it doesn't changes, the temperature or the heat doesn't changes with time. Okay, so when it doesn't changes with time, so definitely that ratio, that is the temperature upon time, that is del temperature by del time, is 0. Okay, so the right hand side goes off. And if you talk about, if you combine these two equations, if you combine these two equations, then qg also goes off and the right hand side also goes off. Okay, so this was all about the this was all about the 3D equation, three-dimensional heat conduction equation in xyz coordinates. Okay, also called Cartesian or the rectangular coordinates. So the similar thing we need to do, the similar approach will be there for all the remaining coordinate systems, like the cylindrical coordinates as well as for the spherical coordinates. So first of all, we will be calculating the Fourier law of conduction for entering heat, and then we'll be calculating for the Fourier's law of conduction for the exiting heat, and it will have that elemental heat added to the main heat, as I've already told you previous to this slide. Okay, and then what we'll do, we will actually subtract the subtract the entering heat from the exiting heat, because we need to know the net heat of the system. Okay, that was qx dash minus qx or qy dash minus qy for the xyz coordinates. Okay, so then you have to add all the net heat of the system plus the internal heat generation of the system. Then these things will actually account for the rate of change of internal energy of the system. Okay, so and then we will do some mathematical jugglery that we have already done here. Okay, we have taken common the volume like dx, dy, dz, and we have neglected all of them, and then we have also taken the properties of material as a homogeneous and isotropic. So kx, ky, kz now becomes k, and I have taken the k common and I have divided it throughout. So it was qg by k and then rho c by k, and the rho c by k is equals to 1 by alpha, because alpha is k by rho c and it is thermal diffusivity. And the similar approach will be there for all the remaining coordinates, that is cylindrical and spherical. Now let's talk about heat conduction equation in cylindrical coordinates. Okay, So heat conduction equation in cylindrical coordinates, the same thing you have to deal with. Okay, see, this is r d phi, okay, this is dz, okay, so, and this is dr. So the volume is r d phi into dr into dz. So this is the volume. Okay, similarly you can see this is qz coming up, qz plus dz going out. Okay, q phi that is entering here, q phi plus d phi, you can say it is q theta here. Okay, and then it is like qr here and qr plus dr coming out here. Okay, now net heat accumulated in the cylinder due to conduction of the heat. So it is actually, it was phi there, but right now we have taken it as theta, so it was r d theta. Okay, so it is heat flow in x theta plane. So heat influx we have already seen, this is the heat influx. Okay, this is the area, this is the area. Okay, now heat efflux means that is means the heat that is coming out of the system. So this is the elemental heat, this is the elemental heat that is getting added. Okay, so heat accumulation you need to subtract it once again. On the similar approach we are heading towards it. So heat accumulation in the element in the theta direction now, so it's q theta minus d theta. So this is what we get. Okay, now heat flow in r theta plane qz. Okay, so qz will have this is Fourier's law of conduction applied in the z plane. Okay, and heat efflux means the heat that is coming out of the system, this is this. Okay, sorry, this is this. Okay, so the net heat accumulation will be qz minus q z plus dz, and this is what it comes up. Okay, now energy stored in the cylinder, energy stored in the cylinder, as we all know, and as I have told you in the previous derivation, that is this thing mCp delta T. Okay, and heat generated is qg into the volume of the system. Okay, so this is the thing. Okay, so this will be in the right hand side of the derivation, and this has to be added with the net heat of the system as we have done it in the previous derivation. So heat accumulated plus heat generation, the same thing, heat accumulated plus heat generation is equals to heat stored. Okay, that is the rate of change of internal energy. So this is what we are getting, kr dr d theta dz, in bracket it will be d square t by del square t by del r square plus 1 by r del. If you solve this, if you solve this in the similar way, you will get it, plus del square t by r square del square theta plus del square t by del z square plus qg r dr d theta dz dt. This small t is basically time. Okay, do not get confused with the capital T and the small t, and then the rho, and in bracket this is the volume, actually r d theta dr dz, specific heat into del t by del t into del t. Okay, so the final equation that you get for a cylindrical coordinate, three-dimensional heat conduction equation in cylindrical coordinate is this. Okay, so on the similar lines we have derived for the cylindrical coordinates as well. Now, okay, so actually if you can solve it in the if you can solve it in the Cartesian coordinates, you can definitely solve it in cylindrical coordinates. The only thing is that the coordinate changes. Okay, so it will be like r theta plane, and that was like xyz plane. Okay, now the general heat conduction equation for spherical coordinates. Now for sphere, actually what happens, cylinder, as you have seen in cylinder, this element was actually rotating in only one angle, this was that angle. Okay, but in sphere you will find there are two angles. Okay, in sphere it simultaneously rotates in two angles. It's just like a football. Look at it, it rotates like this, and it also rotates like this. So if you actually plot the points, plot the locus of the points, you will find it's actually a football. Okay, so this is basically a spherical coordinate. So this is one angle theta, and this is another angle phi. So there are two angles. So the same thing is happening, it is q theta, it is q theta plus d theta. Okay, so the volume stays out to be r d theta into r sin theta d phi, okay, into dr. So this is the volume for the, so this is basically r, theta and phi plane. So this is the spherical coordinate system. Okay, So x, y, z was for this thing, for rectangular coordinates, then r, theta, z for cylindrical coordinates, and this is for spherical coordinates. Okay, so heat flow through, the same thing we will be doing it. Okay, like heat flow through, heat flow in r theta plane phi direction, heat influx q phi, that is minus k r d theta, again applying the Fourier law of conduction, but now the coordinates has changed. Okay, so that's why thickness and everything, the volume, everything has changed. So it's del t by del sine theta d phi dt. Heat efflux will be q phi plus d phi is equals to q phi plus del by del sine theta d phi q phi r sine theta d phi. Therefore, heat accumulated in the phi direction is dq phi. Okay, so the same thing we have done here. We have calculated q phi, then we have gone for the elemental heat addition. So this is the thing that is coming up. Okay, then heat accumulated in r and phi plane. Okay, so first of all we have calculated in this r and phi plane, means it is q theta. Okay, and then it is q theta plus d theta. So if you talk about this, so the final thing that has arrived at this. Okay, and then we will have like theta and phi plane, so we are talking about basically qr. Okay, so qr, it will be like minus k r d theta r sine theta del t by del r dt. Okay, so again we need to calculate the heat efflux. So heat efflux will be q r plus dr is equals to qr plus del by del r q theta dr. Okay, so then therefore heat accumulated in r direction, we all know that heat accumulated in r direction will be qr minus qr plus dr, as we have already done here, see q theta, and we have been doing it for all the derivation, for all the previous derivations, right? So it is q theta minus q theta plus d theta, it is qr minus qr plus dr. Okay, and then the thing that comes up is this. Okay, the thing that comes up is this. Okay, so from the energy balance equation, again we are on the same page, that is heat accumulated plus heat generated is equals to heat stored. Okay, this is the fundamentals of any energy balance. Okay, so it is like kr dr d theta del d phi, it's quite a massive equation. Into it, in the square brackets we have 1 by r square sine square theta del square t by del phi square plus 1 by r square sine square theta del by del theta sine theta del t by del theta plus 1 by r square del by del r square del t by del r dt plus qg r d theta r sine theta dr d phi dt is equals to rho r d theta sine theta dr d phi into the specific heat del t by del t dt. Therefore, we have this equation, that is 1 by r square sine square theta del square t by del phi square plus 1 by r square sine square theta del by del theta sine theta del t by del theta plus 1 by r square del by del r into r square del t by del r. Okay, and then we will have the this column of internal heat generation. Okay, and then we have the energy stored, and we know that is 1 by alpha del t by del t, and the alpha again is the thermal diffusivity. Okay guys, so this was all about today's presentation, today's video. Today what we have discussed massive analytical approach for calculating heat conduction equation in all the dimensions and in all the preferred coordinate system, in rectangular, that is x, y, z, in cylindrical, that is r and theta plane, and in theta and phi plane, that is the spherical coordinate system. So I hope you have understood this video well, and thank you guys.